Good morning, everybody. I'm glad to see you out there this morning. Grab your cup of coffee or tea, sit back and enjoy some astrological and human design chat. Also, gene keys today. Oh, dang it. I might disappear for a second and grab my oracle cards too, because I kind of wanted to do that as well today and totally forgot about it because I got so involved in putting together the material for today. Good morning, April. Good morning, Asa. If I miss you, beautiful beings, today and tomorrow, I will so listen later. That's okay, Asa. We got it, right? Life moves us. I have a grandson being born tomorrow. All these planets in retrograde. I think his little soul is definitely here to resist universal karma rewards, revisit universal karma rewards if things continue to evolve. Yes, indeed. What an interesting little tyke he will be. Good morning, Suzanne, and good morning, Mimi. Yeah, it's always interesting. The power of the children being born right now is amazing. And I see it every time I look at their charts. And I had my own new grandson just back in March. He's 5 months old almost. And he is adorable. And there's just something so magnificent in the beings that are coming in. It gives me hope for a powerful future for us on this planet, as I think these people that are coming in, or these beings that are coming in, have an elevated awareness of what is going on. Good morning, Cindy. It's good to see you out there. So I have a lot to go over this morning, and in the interest of managing my time better, I am going to try to get this transmitted to you all in a decent amount of time. Yeah. So today the moon, remember, is void of course all day until 9:00 p.m. tonight, my time. And for all of you on the East Coast, that puts it at midnight 01 for you tomorrow morning. So you'll begin your day tomorrow without the void, of course. And we will also, on the West Coast, we just get rid of it a little bit sooner. And that will be when the moon moves out of Gemini, where it has been for the last day or two, and into the sign of Cancer. So things change from the more mind-oriented energies of right now to the more emotional, nurturing energies as we go through. Let's see, how many days do we get to stay in Cancer? Basically all of Wednesday and all of Thursday, and overnight hours, of course, through tonight. So the energy of nurturing gets a little bit changed, cut off a little bit. Then we move into Leo energy and Virgo energy for the weekend. So interesting week all in all. Today, Venus is also trine Mars. And I think we might have mentioned this yesterday a little bit, but I just wanted to say that it sort of energizes this energy of Venus in Libra now, that is creating a greater flow in our relationships, between the communication between couples, between the ability to see, from each other's viewpoint. So especially in our relationships, both, interpersonal, but also our business relationships and our friendships, where we can more readily see the viewpoint of the other person. And instead of being in such a contrary position, the flow of the energy is great for timing and great for the interaction with one another. Today, the moon in Gemini is in a sextile to Mercury, its ruler. That is also a great use of the voice. So today, the voice, if you will, isn't about creating something new. It is about speaking to the things that have happened, to the things that are in the works, but not necessarily creating something new, because the moon void, of course, does not really see it taking it into the future if you're not careful. Squaring Venus as well, the moon is, so it's not a great time to begin anything new. But if you want to further an interaction that has been happening within your life, then this is a perfect time for that. All right. Venus in Libra, at least for the next few weeks, is helping us to smooth our relationships, smooth the pathway forward in our relationships. And any issues, of course, that are in those relationships are also easier to smooth out during this time. Doesn't mean you solve them completely, perhaps, but it may just be that it allows you to move to the next elevation in your relationships, to the next level, if you will, of interpersonal relationships. So the big news of the day, I'm going to get personal here. I'm going to get personal because it's the only way I know of to illustrate for you all what happens when these planets do these dances up in the sky. It's like the dance of the planets, right? And it brings us this new energy, or it changes us, takes us backwards in time, even sometimes. And today, this morning at 5:26 a.m. my time, so that was about 3 hours ago, the planet Uranus changed directions from forward motion to retrograde, adding to the cacophony of planets that are already taking us into that deeper dive, the ones that we've been looking at all week long, last week, and taking a look at what does that mean for us as we reel it in, right? We bring it in. So I'll share my personal experience here in just a moment, but I just want to give you the deets. Uranus is retrograde at 2 degrees of Taurus, just barely into Taurus. And it will be retrograde until January 6th of 2019. So this is August to September, October, November, December, January, 5 months of retrograde, when it will be ending its retrograde at 28 degrees of Aries. So it's actually backwards across the sign and backwards into the sign it just left, which gives us some breathing room for the short term. But remember, in Aries, things were chaotic and crazy and filled with sort of some discordant energies. And they were energies that were creating revolutions, right? So almost as if the planet Uranus in Taurus is up against such a solid and unmovable feast, right? An unmovable object. Think about Taurus ruled by the bull, and when a bull puts its feet into the ground and resists movement, it doesn't move. You can't move it. And that's kind of the energy in Taurus. Its will is very powerful, and when it decides to dig in, it digs in. And Uranus is a planet of surprises. And so it may be underscoring some of the places where we are stuck in our lives. It may be underscoring in the bigger, broader outer world where we are stuck, where there's this immovability, where we have refused to yield to change. And in that, then we get this momentary blip from about November to January, and maybe even a little bit closer to March. So a few months worth of Uranus back in Aries. And that's the stirring of the pot, right? Let's stir that pot. Let's get that revolution re-energized. Let's take some more change and let's throw it out there. And then hopefully Uranus, when it moves back into Taurus, sees the value in those changes and allows for us to move forward. Now, in a personal way, Uranus is actually more of an outer planet. So it's more in the tapestry of the transpersonal or the collective energies. But it does affect you as well, because it kind of shows you the places where you're stuck. And now I'm going to share with you the personal side of this. Yesterday, I have been very cognizant because I've been working with a coach, and I don't even see it right now. What am I doing with it? See, I can't even find stuff on my desk. That's how out of it I have been. But I've been working with a coach to laugh out loud, organize my life, to take more control of my timing, to take more control of who I am and how I express who I am. And of course, right now, I can't even find the thing that is most important to me at the moment, which is my schedule. And it's right in front of me. So I've been trying to be very mindful of scheduling. And so part of that is not just allowing this free flow of time in the morning, but really realizing that, you've got to get this done and you've got the producing of that. And then you still have other things that you want to get done. So I've been grappling with this idea of scheduling. And I've been grappling with this idea of coming into boundaries, because I am not someone that does very well with boundaries. Well, a part of the reason why all of that developed in the first place is because I have had this project in the works. And this project has been about writing a book or several, a workbook to support the coaching work that I do, as well as providing or creating a online teachable course. And this course would be about human design. It would be about astrology, teaching people how to live their human designs, etc. And I have been working on this for now, oh gosh, since about March of 2017. And I keep hitting my head up against a wall. I don't know what the problem is. I when I write, I know how to write. I'm a good writer. I do know that. But I just can't seem to write this. I can't seem to organize myself around doing this. And it's been driving me mad. It's been driving me crazy. Well, yesterday afternoon, now remember, it's in the waning phase of Uranus direct yesterday afternoon when it finally came to me that I am grappling with this area of my life where I am stuck because what I'm trying to do doesn't feel authentic to me. It feels like I am trying to regurgitate what other people have done. It feels like I am taking material that isn't necessarily how I would teach it or what I would teach, and trying to package it up and put it out there, almost like there's been this pressure for me to get this done. And in the getting it done, I've been trying to do it in a way or trying to do it with material that isn't mine. And or not that it isn't mine, it's universal energy, it's universal information out there, but I'm trying to put it together in a way that isn't me. And that didn't occur to me until yesterday afternoon. And of course, I'm not thinking about Uranus changing direction. I'm not thinking about any of that stuff. And Uranus is a planet that brings us inspiration for sure, right? It is the energy of a revolution that's in the making. It is the place where we are being awakened and being called into expressing from our more authentic selves, where we are expressing the things that are correct for us, not the things that are not correct for us. So I hope this is making sense to you, because my aha was that no matter how hard I press myself, no matter how I build my schedule to allow time for writing, you can't really see it, but the yellow areas are supposed to be the times for writing. No matter how much I build it into my schedule, I could sit there and twiddle my thumbs if I'm not trying to write what is coming from my heart, coming from me. So there you have it, right? Now Uranus is retrograde, and it's going to give me this moment, this time, these few months, a reprieve, if you will, to allow inspiration to come through, to allow the inspiration to develop along what's correct for me, or what's wholly and uniquely me. As you all know, I have a completely different look at some of the astrological landscape, right? I use pieces that other people don't use. I weave together the stories of astrology, human design, and the gene keys. And I love doing that. But when I find myself sitting down and writing, what I'm writing is either astrology or human design. I haven't yet taken and gone through this process of weaving it together in a program that I would want to share with people. And so, of course, it isn't feeling good to me, right? So the inspiration, I am sure, will come through here at some point in time for me. And one of the things that I really feel like is happening, at least for me personally, and I would bet for you all it's happening as well, is there's a feeling of a need to get back to the basics, but with an innovative twist, right? Uranus is innovation, but Saturn and Pluto, both in the sign of Capricorn, have been teaching us about the value of the basics, of building piece by piece by piece, right? When a skyscraper goes up, they don't build it from the top down, they build it from the bottom up. It has to be built upon a solid foundation. It has to be built on solid girders that are going to support it. Otherwise, it's going to fall apart. First big wind, the first earthquake, hurricane, all those kinds of things will cause the building to fall if it isn't built from its strength, which is from the bottom up. So that is the opportunity, I think, in the biggest of ways, that we are all being faced with somewhere in our chart. Now, Uranus for me happens to be in the 10th house of career. And the career part of your chart is where you share from your authentic self, where you are claiming your authority. So it feels to me like, and only from, my standpoint now, looking back, that I was trying to build something that wasn't authentic to me. That it's not that it wasn't good information. It's not that it wasn't valuable information. It just isn't, I was trying to present it in a way that isn't my way. So I've got to go back to the drawing board, right? Going back to the drawing board. It may delay the time it takes for me to get my product out there, but I would bet you that once I am inspired, I will be able to do that. So somewhere in your lives, this is happening for you. It might be in the first house, which is about you personally. How are you personally revolutionizing you? If it's in your second house, it may be you revolutionizing your money, how you earn money, how you spend money. Is what you spend money in alignment with what you value? And the third house, communication. Are you really delivering the message that is authentic for you? And I mean, I could go on, but in your personal charts, look to where Uranus is changing direction, because it is giving you a sort of injection time for an injection of inspiration, to a reprieve, if you will, to allow that inspiration to come flowing in. And one of the best ways I know of to get a hold of that inspiration is through meditation, through listening to the intuitive voice. Mimi says, yes, first house, refining who I am. So you will know Uranus is in your first house if you have a Taurus rising. If you have an early Taurus rising, because 2 degrees would make it, you could either have, you would have the early part of Taurus. It may be, split between Aries and Taurus. But then even if that is the case for you, Mimi, and you and I are doing a reading later this week, so we'll check on that for you. But there may be another revolutionary impulse coming for you around that as well, a piece that you haven't seen yet, that or a piece that needs to be integrated into what your new you will be all about. Let's see. Anybody else have anything to say here? You guys are all gobsmacked. You're all quiet. It's okay, right? By the way, because some of you may not realize where Uranus is going in your chart, but I bet you do intuitively understand where Taurus is in your chart is where this is happening. But you may be wherever it is you feel like you're grappling with a specific area. A specific theme is probably where Uranus is. And if there are any planets there, it's really bringing this up for you. If it's at one of your angles, the ascendant, the descendant, the IC or the MC, the midheaven, or the IC, what do they call that? Can't think of the word. The fourth house cusp. Then it is a drumbeat that you're feeling that's even louder. So here we have this time period now to take another look at what it is we're doing, to use some of the energies of the retrogrades to look within and get the truth of what you are and what you want to express and what you want to do. Because trying to do somebody else's bidding, trying to do what feels good for another person or is just definitely not going to work. That's the thing that I didn't realize I was doing, is that I was trying to put together what I thought would be the right thing, but it wasn't me, right? It wasn't me. So I have to rearrange all of that. I don't even know what that means for me exactly, except I know it feels to me that that is the correct pathway. I'm actually willing to go through the time it takes to become re-inspired by what I want to share with everyone. So, wow, right? Wow, who knew just in that 24-hour period of time things could change so amazingly. All right, so to finish up today, I want to go to something that I realized yesterday after we got off air. Of course, I always recognize after I get off air all the things I shoulda, coulda, woulda said. And then there's always tomorrow, today, and I get to share this with you. So I started bringing up yesterday the fact that the Human Design Week is moving the sun into the gate 7 and the earth into the gate 13. And something really interesting on a physical level has been going on with me over the last couple of days. And actually, I think I started noticing it over the weekend, perhaps, where I was hiccuping and yawning. And I'm like, what the heck is all of that? Hiccuping and yawning. I mean, it's normal to have hiccups. It's normal to yawn, but not at all hours of the day and night, right? Like for no reason at all, this was happening to me. And then as I was looking today at gate 7, which through the gene keys, by the way, is the energy in the shadow of divided, being in division. The gift is guidance and the highest expression is virtue. But the part of the body that this is working with is the diaphragm, the place where we breathe from. And when we constrict down our diaphragm, we constrict our breathing. And if we are eating or talking from that constricted place, the diaphragm reacts by trying to bring in more oxygen. And that may be through yawning. And it may also be that if you're doing this in a process of your day, hiccuping could certainly be another expression of the diaphragm in constriction. Well, if you think about the shadow here of divided or division, it is really interesting when you look out into the outer world, because it seems like everything out there is showing us this division, right? It's like maybe even what I was talking about yesterday, with Carl Jung and his observation that the shadow was taking a stronger and stronger hold of humanity, um, is absolutely true, right? That this shadow is out there. It is in our faces. And we either live in the shadow and we continue to live that way, divided, and in discord, which is the shadow of the gate 13 where the earth sits, or we begin a process of elevating ourselves out of that shadow. And good morning, Roseanne. It's good to see you. And the gifts in gate 13 are discernment, and the gift in gate 7 is guidance from within, perhaps. Um, and discernment. Discernment is such an interesting word because it really takes us to our ability to see what's right or what's wrong, but not from a moralistic standpoint, but from what's correct for us. It's almost like discernment aligns you with your integrity or with integrity. Um, the discord in gate 13, where the earth is sitting, it stems from the fact that gate 13 is very much related to hearing, to listening, right? And discord occurs when we have the inability to listen. And listening is done, by the way, with your whole being. It is all of you engaged in the hearing, in the listening. When you're talking with someone, or when you're on the listening side of, listening to somebody, are you listening, which is with your whole being, or are you just hearing, which is literally much more mechanical, right? It's it's the auditory response of sound by your ears, right? It's very physical. It's not necessarily that hearing makes you listen. It's that hearing is happening. Like I'm hearing cars go by in the background. I'm hearing the birds. I'm hearing water. But I'm not really listening to that because I'm here talking with you. Does that make sense? Right? So hearing much more mechanical, listening something that you do with your whole body, where all of your senses are tuned in to what it is that's happening, whether that is you listening to something coming up from within you, i.e. meditation or prayer, or is it something that you're doing with another person? You're listening to what's happening with that person. So those are the things that we're looking at this week through that particular gate. On the bigger play, on the bigger, wider scale, the bigger world stage, the 7th gene key or the 7th gate is steering humanity to its future. Remember, we talked about the highest expression of gate 7 is virtue. Virtue is where we are living a good life, where we're living in a positive way. Gate 13 on the other side is a gate that takes us to the past. And so the blending of these two energies is about listening to the best from the past and bringing it forward while expressing yet what the best of the future holds for us, right? The 13 or the 7 steers humanity to a new future, while the 13th sometimes sees us pursuing short-term agendas that have disastrous long-term consequences. And I think most of you are here from that listen to me in the morning are from the United States. And I think you can see that some of the things that are going on in our outer world as it relates to politics, especially, are short-term agendas by a small-minded president that have disastrous consequences or hold possibly disastrous consequences for us in the future. And here's where the division sits, right? The division sits right there, right? From those of us who understand and know that this isn't, that the past that he's trying to resurrect is gone. So in that respect, let's take the best of what we know about ourselves and our past, and let's marry it to the biggest and brightest and best in the future, for the future. So it is huge, right? It almost feels to me, it almost feels like it's a lot out of our hands, right? And that all we can do is hold space for the biggest, the best, and the brightest and the best to happen, right? For some of these transits to play out their energy and create innovation and openings for us. Remember at the beginning of the summer, I said that there were these 3 months where there were literally no connections to the inner planets, that a lot of what was happening over this 3-month period of time, totally out of our control. Personally, there isn't anything that I can do about the president stupidly saying that cars don't need to have as many emission controls on them anymore. I can't control the things he says and does, but I can certainly control myself. And it's not even about control so much as I have dollars I can spend. I have my voice. I can speak to these things. I can make sure that I am applying myself in ways that elevate the planet and not bring us more discord. That's about all we have the power to do here, right? So listening with a deeper beingness involved, listening to the deeper messages that are coming through from the planets, from literally the planets triggering an inward face right now for everyone. Now with Uranus, that's like 7 planets retrograde, right? If we count Chiron. And of course, that breaks up here shortly, but it doesn't matter because for the time being, in this moment, we have all of this retrograde energy allowing us in the inner world to make the changes, to shift the things that we can shift, right? To shift the things that we personally can shift. And that can only happen within us. There we have it. I think that's all I have today. Let's take a look. See anybody. Mimi says, I see, I love it, 0.045 as the horrible teacher, teaching us what we don't want to be nor how we want our country to be. Absolutely. One of the things I think we learn best from as human beings sometimes is by contrast. And by contrast, I mean, if we can get clarity about what we don't want, then it gives us access to what we really do want. Because sometimes we're stumbling through our lives, right? We can go, this happens all the time. I'll ask somebody in a reading, what do you want? So what do you want? Right. And they're like, yeah, I don't know what I want. But then I say, okay, well, what's the one thing that you are grappling with right now in your life? Or what is the one thing that is worrisome to you? And let's say it's a money issue for people, earning enough money. Then if if you're grappling with a lack of money or a lack of abundance, then what you're saying you really want, by contrast, is an ease and flow of abundance. So sometimes it's this contrast that gives us a clearer indication of what we really desire, what we really do want in our lives. And I think what our president does is sometimes make us really be able to see, I want to breathe clean air, right? I want to breathe clean air. I want a planet that is not dying. I want a planet that's alive, where the animals and the people and the plants all live in harmony and, in valuing one another. So a lot of the BS that he throws out there in the world is really our own shadow, helping us to get clear about what it is we do desire, right? Whether that's interpersonal, how we get along with one another, even the bigger things out there like immigration, which has been a big deal this summer. Really helps us get clear about what do we want, right? We see people suffering, and what we want is not to suffer. We want to thrive, not suffer. So sometimes it's a really good foil for us to see what we really do desire. Where do we really want to go? Where do we see ourselves? All right, my friends, that's all. Oh, no, I was going to disappear for a moment because I want to draw an oracle card. So hold on while I come over here and grab my deck. Okay. And the deck, of course, is The Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron Reed. Whoop. There we go. So let's just pull a card and let's get a read, if you will, on the energy that Uranus in retrograde is bringing to us. Too funny. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, the clock. Card number 30. So it's a 3. Pulled it upright, which is like, I don't know. We haven't had an upside down card in a while. Did I turn all my cards right side up? Nope. Definitely did not do that. So card number 30. Tick tock, tick tock. God, is that a good one? I hope. Okay, the essential meaning of the can you see that actually? See, it's a clock. Looks like it's attached to a balloon. Has little arms or maybe hands. Yeah, they're hands coming out. Fun. The essential meaning: timelessness, divine timing, immeasurable time. The oracle's message: when humans created time, everything changed and contracted. People have come to look at life in a linear way, imagining that the past is behind them and the future ahead of them. But what if that isn't true at all? What if everything, creativity, beauty, chaos, and order, were happening now in a glorious timelessness? You have all the time in the world to co-create the life you desire, so release your agenda. Let go of your need to shape each moment to your expectations, knowing that what is yours will never be withheld from you. Miracles are here right now and always show up when you need them, right on time. The relationship message: love, the fulfillment of desire, and even the body's reproductive cycles have their own timetable. Some things are preordained and cannot be coerced. Everything has its season, its divine and appropriate timing, especially when it comes to matters of the heart. Remember that you always have enough time for love, to find it, to nurture it, to give and receive it. Its clock is eternal and ticks according to the beating of your heart. Its clock is eternal and ticks according to the beating of your heart in perfect rhythm. Isn't that wonderful to know? Love is always right on time. Prosperity message: your prosperity is co-created by your endeavors as they occur in human-made time and the eternal efforts of your most important manifestation partner, spirit, in a divine, measureless time. So keep doing what you're doing. Stay positive and make a commitment to remain in high vibration thoughts and feelings. If you heed the message of this card, it will seem as if you will align with your highest calling and your highest good in no time at all, like magic. So what's all the fuss about not having enough time? The prosperous life that is yours will never pass you by. That reminds me of the meme that I posted from Michelle earlier. I think it was Michelle earlier this week. So I think that's a pretty auspicious card. And given that our question was really about what does this mean for us for the planet Uranus changing directions, I think we get this idea pretty powerfully. All right, everybody. Well, carry on. Have a wonderful day. Stay positive, Suzanne says. Mimi says perfect message. And yeah, I think it is a perfect message. Anyway, thank you all. And I will see you tomorrow morning. I think tomorrow I am going to bring up Pallas Athena, since she is going to be a part of the eclipse that occurs on Saturday. Let's take a dive into Pallas Athena, what she means by birth in our charts, and what her being engaged in the eclipse means for all of us. All right. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Much love to you all. Bye for now.